Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and I just got back from the new film Godzilla. This version of Godzilla is both very respectful of the Toho films, but also very different from them, and not exactly what I think you were expecting, and not just because the advertising is kind of misleading, but also because it's a lot more like an older blockbuster film, kind of films that would leave you with awe and scale of the monsters, and when an action sequence happened it would mean more because they were less frequent because we didn't have the technology then. This reflects more of that and kind of the old charm where in the 80s and 90s a lot of directors, I mean, not to say they were all ripping off Spielberg, but a lot of them were trying to do Steven Spielberg-like things, and I think this is very influenced by things like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and Jurassic Park. Gareth Edwards is very good at that, but it's also very much like his other film Monsters, where you're spending a lot of time with the people rather than the monsters. In most Godzilla films, those are the parts you want to skip, and the parts that never really connect with what's going on with the monsters. That I was kind of into their storyline for the most part, not all the time. At the same time, it does a lot of things that normal blockbusters do, like posing that something's going to be one way and then losing its fortitude when it gets to that. It just likes posturing that it's going to do those things. Now, I know a lot of people don't want very much of this film spoiled for them because it's so anticipated, and it's been actually probably the longest stretch in America without a new Godzilla film in theaters ever, I believe. So most of the rest of this review will contain spoilers. It's hard to talk about the plot of this film without spoiling things, so if you don't want anything else spoiled for you for the rest of this review, then please turn it off now and go see the movie and come back and you can watch the rest. There's a nuclear disaster in Japan and Bryan Cranston loses his wife, who also works in this nuclear plant, and he realizes that it might not just be, you know, a nuclear disaster, something else might be at foot. As he keeps going in there to kind of find out, he thinks there's something more at foot. It doesn't make sense. He thinks like there might be, you know, creatures involved, and they eventually find out that there is a creature involved. It's not Godzilla, it's a different monster, and that monster feeds on radiation and had attached itself to the nuclear plant and had been doing so ever since that disaster, and then eventually comes out and Godzilla comes to fight him off because Godzilla apparently, as Ken Watanabe says in this film, is that he is the protector of the earth. He is a tool of Mother Nature to set things right, and he will fight this monster, and then another one pops up. The humans are trying to destroy the Mutos, and they think Godzilla will destroy them, but they're not sure exactly what Godzilla will do, and they have to play it out before more and more people and more cities are destroyed. The thing with the character of Godzilla, from the beginning of the first Godzilla film, he represents something. He represents both Mother Nature, the atomic bomb, and sometimes even America. In this film, it feels like they kind of get to make him be both an antagonist and a superhero. And I don't exactly love that. Why lead us down that road? Because it's kind of interesting, you're not exactly sure what he's doing, because why would you? He's Godzilla, he doesn't like talk to people or anything. But I didn't really like that because it felt like you're going for this environmental message, and then at the end, it's like, oh, just kidding everybody, don't worry, the environment's gonna be totally fine. We're gonna be so okay. I don't wanna freak you guys out because Earth's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it, global warming's not a thing. Just chill out. And it's like, why take that message away from Godzilla when you had set it up with the Ken Watanabe character? I still think he could fight the Mutos, but I kind of feel like, why be a little indecisive about what your message was with Godzilla? That he saves the humans in the end. It's kind of feels like kind of a dulled message. And this film has a lot of things that it kind of brings up and lets go. It is a different monster movie because every time Godzilla and the Muto is going to fight, they cut to something else. I actually like, most of the time, like Jaws or Cat People, where you cut away and you don't see what's going on. And it adds a lot of mystery and it lets you play with your imagination while you're watching a movie. But the difference between Cat People and Jaws, and not just because they're two incredible movies that have long histories and that would be hard to live up to, but aside from that fact, it's also the fact that Gareth Edwards is playing with that. He like seems to almost have it be a joke, and he doesn't seem to really be scaring the audience. It feels like he shows this Godzilla pretty earlier, but then like I get that we get the scale and he's trying to show us the human element, and that's something, you know, the original Godzilla film really had. He was terrifying because you really understood that he was hurting people, and this film gets that very well, that you can't just have Godzilla attacking stuff. It has to have some personal stakes for the audience, and having people and characters that you know and you understand help with that, and this film does that very well. Having the lack of Godzilla fights with the Mutos was like kind of unsatisfying after a while. It's like, yeah, you gave me the scale, and I do like that he was making a film, a blockbuster, like an older blockbuster director, and I got the awe of the film, and when he does fight the Mutos, it's an incredible fight, and it's way better than most blockbuster directors are, and there's a lot of meaning in the disasters stuff that we've had. Environmental disasters like Sandy, or particular New Orleans, I saw a lot in this film, and Fukushima. At a certain point it was like, okay, show me the Godzilla stuff. In Jaws, Spielberg didn't tease the shark as much as Gareth Edwards does with Godzilla. So it kind of got a little bit of a cock tease in a little bit of a way, and it's like, I have seen directors be seductive and hold back and like get you more into it, make you more intrigued. And that does work for a little bit, but after a while it's like, okay, I get it. It's like funny that the door closes and we don't get to see it. It's cool. And I'm glad that the main fight is at night, because that was one thing that Ishiro Honda, the director of the first Godzilla film, and a lot of great Godzilla films after that, the first Godzilla film is at night, and Godzilla always looks terrifying at night. This was actually shot by Seamus McGravy, who his last film was The Avengers, but he's a much better DP than The Avengers and the Marvel films let him show. He shot We Need to Talk About Kevin and Atonement. I've never really seen him get to show how good of a DP he is in a blockbuster film. Like The Avengers, there are some really good shots in that and such, but this, it really felt like he really got to show how good of a DP he was in a blockbuster film, and I think he definitely helped make this film and have its epic scale. This film takes itself more seriously and is trying to be a deeper movie, but it's kind of basically like Independence Day level, which is not a reference to the Roland Emmerich Godzilla movie in any means, but it does feel like it's trying to be kind of a better made disaster movie almost a lot of the time, more than a Godzilla movie. Now, it has an actually surprisingly good cast. Bryan Cranston and Juliette Binoche aren't in it very much, but also Sally Hawkins and Ken Watanabe. I thought Ken Watanabe was good. He is the first character to say his name is Godzilla, which I thought was respectful because Ken Watanabe is Japanese. Some people might find that to be a bit of a cliche and obvious and lame, but I thought it shows some respect to me, but I understand if people think that's cheesy. Elizabeth Olsen was basically wife number one. I mean, I don't know if she had a character name, who cares? Because, I mean, she was only good at standing in front of crowds and doing the Spielberg look and going with her big eyes. Aaron Taylor Johnson, at the beginning, when he was with Bryan Cranston, it almost like did the reverse of what it does for Aaron Paul, where Bryan Cranston makes Aaron Paul, I think, a better actor when he's around him. I've never seen Aaron Paul be as good as when he's with Bryan Cranston, and with Aaron Taylor Johnson, it felt like he did the opposite and made Aaron Taylor Johnson look worse. When Bryan Cranston dies eventually, I felt his acting got better, but he is kind of playing just a generic soldier. You know, there's people, he's basically playing like the Will Smith role in this part of Will Smith from Independence Day, but not with as much charisma. When I was watching it, I was thinking like, that's probably why Will Smith became a movie star, because it's kind of a thankless role. You know, most people don't show personality through it, and a lot of these actors seem to be able to show personality through kind of nothing roles. There are certain parts that you're like, okay, whatever, and that's kind of the tradition of the Godzilla films, that there's always parts during the human storyline that you don't care about. But this I probably cared about a lot more than most of them, and it has some just stirring moments from the human perspective that I'm not used to, specifically in the part you've already seen from the trailer with the music from that scene in 2001 where the paratroopers are coming down to disarm that bomb, which is simply incredible. That he could have incredible things happen that weren't just, you know, the giant monsters, shows his strength as a director. I can understand if people see this and are unsatisfied. but I think it's actually a pretty good movie. You're hearing Godzilla's roar, you see the awesome fight, and it is kind of worth it, but the teasing got a little old. If they make a second Godzilla film, if this works out and there's another one, I wouldn't go in this route again. I know he directed Monsters, but it feels like he's trying to do the same trick again. He did succeed in trying to have some wonder and spectacle to a big budget film that most of these films can never succeed at doing. They might thrill us with a sequence, but they can't really make me as thrilled with the sequence as I was when I eventually got to see that Godzilla fight. So I guess he did actually succeed in that, but it did feel annoying to actually get there. Regardless of all of that, it was a very entertaining blockbuster. It made me think about withholding from the audience and how that's actually effective and not feel like I was hammered in the head with action sequences that felt like he got those action sequences to really mean something to me as an audience. There's not a lot of directors who can do that and would want to do that and have the patience for that. And, you know, I think that shows why this Godzilla film will be something special, but I don't think it's enough of a return to form. I think if you're going to make a Godzilla movie and going to be returned, you should have it maybe mean a little bit more. It would have been a much better film if it hadn't softened its blow at the end, just to make kind of more of a easier, pleasing blockbuster film. It is a unique kind of blockbuster film, but in the end kind of goes, oh, no, we're not. See, Godzilla's good. Go home. You're safe. And I kind of felt like the film had more respect for Godzilla than that, but also Godzilla was like that. So if you have seen Godzilla and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. And first off, I apologize for my sick voice. I am getting over a cold. I'm still a little sick. Also, check out my Godzilla review playlist. I reviewed the original Godzilla film, the first sequel, Godzilla Raids Again, the first remake they ever made of Godzilla, The Return of Godzilla, and Godzilla 2000. And there is a playlist that will be an annotation below. And please check those out if you would like. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.